Islam, as the second largest religion in the world, has become a topic of political debate over the past few decades. With the rise of extremist Islamic groups, Muslim and non-Muslims all over the world are forced to ask themselves about the identity of their own religion. The average person seems to rush into essentialist interpretations. Something like, essentially Islam is a violent religion. Or, essentially Islam is a religion of peace. What's the answer? If Islam is fundamentally a violent religion, then the vast majority, over 1 billion Muslims, are unfaithful to their tradition, since they are not violent. On the other hand, as a religion of peace, how do we understand the use of physical violence throughout the history of the religion? Are we satisfied with interpretations that are based solely on generalized statements that overlook historical variation or cultural difference? Like the other religions covered in this book, Islam is diverse, and we need to understand it through both historical and cultural lenses. Islam, like Judaism and Christianity, affirms the existence of one and only one God. However, while monotheistic, it is important to ask ourselves about the nature and revelation of that divinity. Here is where we see both similarities and dissimilarities between notions of God affirmed within Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The chapter also introduces the 5 pillars of Islam. The person on the street who may know a little about Islam may have heard about the 5 pillars, but those pillars, which are in fact obligatory for Muslims to follow, are statements about worship. The pillars do not cover, for instance, topics within jurisprudence or Islamic law. Therefore, the best way to see the 5 pillars is as part of Islamic worship. For that reason, when you read the chapter, you will not see the 5 pillars discussed as the foundation of Islam, but rather as a part of Islamic worship. There is much within Islam that can challenge Christians to be more faithful. For instance, worldwide, mosques are places of prayer and prostration. If you have ever visited a mosque during worship, you immediately recognize the seriousness with which Muslims go before God. Also, the concept of shirk, that is, putting anything on the same level of God, can remind Christians of the same call issued by the Bible: seek first God's kingdom and have no other gods before me. Both Islam and Christianity recognize the human temptation to place anything before God. For example, our ambitions, other gods, and even our fears. I hope as you read the chapter on Islam, you will appreciate the strengths of the tradition and its diversity, while also thinking about ways in which Christian witness can play a role in friendship with Muslims.